Welcome to the series where I test out money-making methods from the OSRS Wiki. Feel free to leave suggestions on which moneymaker you'd like to see next. And also, if you didn't already know, I have a nice playlist that I've created that has all of the previous moneymakers that I've already tried, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for this video, we will be doing casting plank make. And I decided to choose this one because a lot of people were asking for this video, so let's go ahead and give everyone what they want. Now, interestingly enough, there is no moneymaker on the wiki for casting plank make. They do have making mahogany planks, but it is through the use of the lumberyard. I still thought though it'd be a good idea to go ahead and try out this moneymaker, even though it is not on the list, just to see what the comparable rates are, in terms of money and magic XP that we'll be getting for casting it. Plus, there's always the possibility that we can come back and revisit this moneymaker and do it through the lumberyard in future videos. But for now, we'll just stick to using the spell on the lunar spellbook to make planks really anywhere. But as with all of these types of videos, I like to do them in the crafting guild. As for the gear setup for this moneymaker, all you will really be needing is a staff of earth, or any staff that gives you unlimited earth runes. The graceful that I'm wearing and the max cape aren't really necessary, but like always, I always have this on. It's very helpful whenever you're running around the game, but again, you only need the staff of earth here. In the inventory, you'll see that I have a rune pouch, which can help out, but it's not really necessary. I just like using it because it'll save one inventory slot for a log that can be turned into a plank. As for the runes that we are using the astral runes and the nature runes. You will be needing 2 astral runes and 1 nature rune for each cast of plank make. Since there was no entry in the wiki, I kind of just guesstimated how much I could do, so I went ahead and bought 1500 casts worth of plank make. But at the end of the video, you'll see how many I was able to make, and then you can buy the right amount of runes that you need. So now that we're done with the gear setup, we can go ahead and go to the bank, and I can show you how I organize it. Like with all of my videos, I use the bank fillers here just to make banking a little easier. I put the mahogany logs close to the deposit inventory button just to make for fast and easy banking. And then here you'll see me putting the runes into the rune pouch. And now we can go ahead and withdraw all of the logs that we need. But before we do that, I am going to explain some of the plugins that I'm using. I'm using Inventory Viewer in Lawliet. This will show me the inventory that I have whenever I am in the spellcasting menu, so I want to be switching back and forth, which is pretty helpful. I'm also using the Camera Zoom plugin, and that is just to get closer to the bank chest. I will position the camera in a way where when I hover over the bank chest, it'll also be hovering over the deposit inventory button. And as you saw me right there draw that little green box over the plank make spell, that is the screen markers plugin that is also in Lawliet, so it's pretty helpful. I drew one over the cast plank spell and over the deposit inventory button. And that is pretty much all you need to know to do this moneymaker. There are 2 different ways that you can go about approaching this. You can either have it do it automatically, where you just click on the spell, click on one of the logs, and you will automatically make all of the logs in your inventory into planks. Or you can choose to cast a spell manually on each individual plank, which is faster, but of course it is more click intensive, so it's up to you whether you want to devote more of your attention to doing this moneymaker. According to the wiki, if you choose to auto cast it, you will make a plank every 5 ticks, and if you choose to go the manual route, you can make it every 3 ticks. I chose to go the AFK route just because I knew how painful it would be to manually do this for an hour, and I doubt people will want to do this for more than 1 hour if they're manually clicking. I feel like if you go the automatic route, you can do this for far longer without getting tired. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there's people out there who don't mind clicking that much. I could possibly make another video on the manual version of clicking this, but for now we'll just stick to the automatic, and I can always do a small calculation to estimate how many planks we would have made if we went the manual route. I also couldn't help but notice while I was watching this recording back that the character is doing a pretty funny animation whenever it's sped up, similar to the charging air orbs one where I was headbanging at the altar. Here it looks like I'm hip thrusting or doing something crazy, but I thought that was pretty funny. And also, if you're not already aware, The sound of casting plank make is one of the worst in the game, so if you want to go ahead and hear it, I suggest looking it up. I didn't want to quite hurt your ears in this video, so I thought I'd spare you from that, but believe me, it's a very annoying sound. Not quite as annoying or eardrum busting as the Armadillo spec, but it's still pretty bad. It's still pretty up there. As for the requirements for this moneymaker, you will need 86 magic to cast the spell, and you will also have to have completed the spell Lunar Diplomacy and Dream Mentor to have access to this spell. Aside from the runes, you will also need a cash stack to actually cast the spell as well. This was something that I did not anticipate whenever I was first doing it. When I tried casting the spell, I was trying to figure out why it wasn't working, and then I looked in the game box at the bottom and it said that you need 1050 coins to make logs into planks, so I thought that was pretty interesting. And I was kind of disappointed because whenever I was first checking out the margins on these items, I was pretty excited because I thought that we were going to make a lot of money, but then I realized that we needed money to actually make these logs into planks. Normally, if you take these logs to the sawmill, they charge you 1500 per log to make it into a plank, and with plank make it's 1050. So yes, it is cheaper, but you also have to account for the cost of runes, so that eats into the profits quite a bit as well. It's not so much of a savings after that. So this was kind of a surprise to me, the whole coins needed for a spell type deal. So not only do you need runes, but you need money to cast a spell, essentially. Which, I don't know if there's any other spells that do that. There might be. I don't really have a lot of experience with all of these lunar spells that you see here. I mean, the only ones that I use here is probably Vengeance, and that's about it. So having a spell that requires money was pretty interesting. And also, I don't know if you can see it because the video is sped up so much, but I did forget to remove the placeholder of coins in my bank when I did this. So that's why you see me having to click on the planks to bank them, rather than clicking on the deposit all button. I decided to do it this way instead of restarting the entire video and having to buy all the supplies back again. It wasn't really a big deal for me, but just keep in mind that it'll be slightly faster if you use the deposit all button. So just make sure that you have your placeholders out of the way for all of your items. And with that being said, we have reached the end of our 1 hour of casting plank make through the use of mahogany logs. Now we can go ahead and do a little price check of how many planks we ended up making. As you can see here, we got about 1005 mahogany planks made, and the total value of that is around 2.1 mil. And while that looks good in the price check inventory interface, there's a lot of costs that we have to account for, so stay tuned for that. And here we are throwing them in the GE for around the actively traded price of 21.38, and we'll let them sit there for not too long because they sell pretty quickly. And now we can go ahead and collect the money, do one final price check to see how much money we have here, and as you can see, it is still around 2.1 mil, slightly less than what we saw before, but that's because the actively traded price was a little bit lower than the market price, but not by much. Now we can finally go to the next screen and figure out just how much money we made during this 1 hour, which I can already tell isn't going to be much, but more importantly, I think we'll have a nice amount of magic XP at the end of this. So if we take into consideration the cost of all the runes, the money from our cash stack, and the price of the mahogany logs, that totals to 2,022,060 GP. We can now subtract that from the amount of money that we made, which was 2,148,690 GP, giving us a grand total profit of 126,630 GP. So yeah, just like I predicted, not the best moneymaker out there. I think this is more of a training method more than anything. And I can safely say that the magic XP that we got from this is more than you would get from casting high alchemy. And also, to be fair, this was a pretty AFK method as well. Of course, you can do it the manual way, but for it being AFK, I think we got a decent amount of money and some nice XP. The final XP that we got from this 1 hour was 90,450 magic XP. Not a bad amount of magic XP, but honestly, I've done other videos where we've made a nice amount of money and some nice magic XP. And the one video that I'm thinking about in particular is the casting 10 leather spell video, wherein we made I think over 1 million and got like over 100,000 magic XP. So yeah, But to be fair, that one was also a lot less AFK. But I mean, feel free to check it out. It was a pretty good method nonetheless. And as always, I just want to say thanks for checking out the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and possibly a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next episode.